Item Number: SCP-2124. Object Class: Safe, pending review following Test 2124-09. Special Containment Procedures: SCP-2124 should be kept in a secure storage locker, sized at least 50 cm by 50 cm by 10 cm. This locker should be kept sterile, free of moisture and airtight whenever practicable in order to prevent SCP-2124 from deteriorating. A foam insert molded to fit a 20 cm length kitchen knife has been added to the inside of SCP-2124 following Test 2124-04 and, while removable, should be kept in place during approved tests pending approval from a senior researcher or other staff member of Level 3 clearance or above. Any instances of SCP-2124-1 must be returned to the box, ideally to the molded insert, during standard storage. Following Test 2124-09, testing of SCP-2124 is forbidden unless directly supervised by a staff member of Level 4 clearance or above. Description: SCP-2124 is a large-sized pizza box, made out of double-layered brown cardboard. SCP-2124 contains grease residue and upon initial discovery showed early signs of mold growth, removed upon standard sterilization procedure, but is otherwise in good condition for its age. Written in black ink, presumably by a black felt tip pen, upon the top of the box is the message, "Careful." Invisible knife in box. All components of SCP-2124, including the ink on the warning, appear to be made of standard material with no anomalous properties. SCP-2124 is as vulnerable to damage as any cardboard pizza box, and care should be taken during testing to avoid any deterioration. A human being attempting to consciously pick up the knife, or find the knife, is successful in finding such an object, designated an instance of SCP-2124-1. Subjects describing SCP-2124-1 frequently describe it using the following terms. It feels almost like empty air. It feels like I could crush it. It might slip out of my hand if I close it too hard. SCP-2124-1 has no detectable weight or measurable presence, other than the, often uncertain, word of the subject holding the instance that they are holding the object. However, when instructed to cut objects using an instance of SCP-2124-1, the object is cut in a manner consistent with a sharp kitchen knife. SCP-2124-1 is able to cut through soft objects with no appreciable effort, through meat and firm objects with simple effort, through bone with moderate effort, and through steel with considerable effort. Exact dimensions and properties of instances of SCP-2124-1 appears to vary with test subject and testing conditions. See the abridged test log, below, for additional information. The interior of SCP-2124 appears to be empty to standard inspection, without any evidence of an instance of SCP-2124-1. All non-human interaction, sweeping with tongs, brushes, metal detectors, with the interior produces results consistent with an empty box. Blindly feeling around the interior of SCP-2124 also produces the same result. Test 2124-03, February 9, 2012. Subject, Researcher Clarent, under outside observation from Senior Researcher Knight and associated researchers. Events: after tests 2124-01 and 2124-02 established the general properties of SCP-2124, Researcher Clarent tested the ability of SCP-2124-1 to cut various objects, especially those that are not normally easily damaged by a standard kitchen knife. All tests were performed in a standard Foundation testing room. Objects successfully cut. Falling silk handkerchief, small piece of SCP-2124, T-bone steak from standard Black Angus cow, stainless steel screw. Objects unsuccessfully cut. 2-carat diamond, Foundation containment grade reinforced steel, material from some SCP, testing room security door, minor scratches sustained, Researcher Clarent's work obligations, as tested by Clarent by swinging at the air around her, saying, "It was worth a try." Test 2124-06, February 19, 2012. Subjects: D-Class Personnel D903, D108, D299, as supervised by Senior Researcher Knight and Associates. Events: D903 and D108 were instructed to enter the testing area. D903 was instructed to pick up the knife, then demonstrate its effects on a provided plate of butter by plunging SCP-2124-1 as deep into the butter as possible. This was accomplished without incident. To a depth of 20 centimeters, D108 was instructed to take a new knife from SCP-2124. D108 attempted to retrieve an instance of SCP-2124-1, but failed and declared SCP-2124 to be empty. D903 was instructed to hand the knife to D108 handle first. D903 expressed difficulty in properly grasping the knife by the safe bit of the blade, but managed to do so without issue. D108 proceeded to confirm that they were holding a knife, and demonstrated on the provided butter, to a depth of 22.5 centimeters. At this point, D299 was instructed to enter the testing area and subjects D903 and D108 were instructed to stand back and say nothing. D299 was instructed to pick up a knife from the box and insert it into the butter as deep as it would go. D299 was successful in inserting the instance of SCP-2124-1 to a depth of 20 centimeters. D108 insisted that he still had the knife, and demonstrated this fact by successfully slashing at the butter. All three D-Class expressed confusion, and D903 insisted that he held no knife and waved his open hand at the butter to demonstrate. D108 and D299 were instructed to place both their knives inside SCP-2124, which was successfully performed. All D-Class personnel were then instructed to take a knife from SCP-2124. Only D903, who attempted to take an instance of SCP-2124-1 first, was successful. D299 and D108 both insisted that SCP-2124 was empty and contained no knife. D903 complied with instructions to place the knife back into SCP-2124, and testing was concluded. Test 2124-09, April 21, 2013. Subjects: D-Class Personnel D788, D600, and D962, as supervised by Senior Researcher Knight. Events: D-Class were told that effects of SCP-2124-1 would be tested against itself as well as standard materials. D-Class were instructed to do something. Following extensive testing and security intervention following the unruly behavior from D600, all instances of SCP-2124-1 were placed back in SCP-2124, and testing was concluded. Addendum: 21 hours following the test, D788 succeeded in escaping their cell and severely injuring one member of security personnel before being tranquilized. D788 claimed that you only need to see the box once, if you know how. D788 proved, under interrogation, that they were capable of producing an instance of SCP-2124-1. This instance varied significantly from the measurements of the molded insert placed in SCP-2124. When interrogated, D600 and D962 were incapable of producing SCP-2124-1 without taking it from SCP-2124. After Test 2124-02, it is recommended that subjects testing SCP-2124 are instructed to pick up the handle of the knife. Item Number: SCP-1361. Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The primary sample of SCP-1361 is to be kept in an environmentally sealed chamber at a constant temperature of 4 degrees Celsius. SCP-1361 is to be fed a small mammal weighing 1 to 5 kilograms once per day, or as necessary to maintain its mass within 45 to 65 kilograms. In the event that the primary sample's mass exceeds 107 kilograms, 50% of its mass is to be removed and destroyed by incineration. All incinerations of SCP-1361 material are to be performed in environmentally sealed areas, and air is to be completely filtered before dispersal into the atmosphere. All persons handling SCP-1361 are to make use of a portable oxygen supply and wear appropriate safety gear. Secondary samples of SCP-1361 may be produced as necessary for testing purposes, using D-Class personnel scheduled for termination as seed material. All secondary samples are to be stored in a separate environment from the primary sample. Description: SCP-1361 is an amorphous mass of animal tissue, similar in appearance to mechanically separated meat. Tissue analysis indicates that SCP-1361 contains DNA markers from 37 distinct species, including Bos taurus, Gallus gallus, Sus scrofa, Felis catus, Canis lupus, Mesochrysetus auratus, Columba livia, and Homo sapiens sapiens, and that it consists primarily of muscular and connective tissue and fat. SCP-1361 also contains high concentrations of ammonium hydroxide and is caustic to exposed flesh. SCP-1361 possesses no sensory organs or internal structure and demonstrates no indications of being intelligent or aware of its environment. Due to its lack of specialized organs, pieces of SCP-1361 can be removed or reattached without any harm to the organism or the removed portion. SCP-1361 is capable of limited locomotion along flat surfaces by means of contracting and expanding itself. SCP-1361 has been observed to move at a constant rate of 1.3 meters per minute, irrespective of its current mass. Quantities of SCP-1361 smaller than 5 kilograms do not demonstrate an ability to move. When not interfered with by outside stimuli, SCP-1361 will move in a straight line until it encounters a barrier larger than its current height, at which point it will begin moving in a different direction. If SCP-1361 encounters any biological matter while traveling, it will attempt to form itself around it and engulf the object. Within 15 to 30 minutes of engulfing a biological object, SCP-1361 will digest it and its mass and volume will increase by the mass and volume of the object engulfed. SCP-1361 has demonstrated an ability to digest any plant or animal matter introduced to it, including wood, clothing, hair, bones, and samples of organic SCP objects not known to be destructible by conventional means. Non-organic material contained within the consumed object is not digested and remains within SCP-1361 indefinitely. SCP-1361 does not excrete any waste after feeding. SCP-1361 loses mass at a rate of 1 kilogram per day and must consume at least that much to maintain its mass. If not fed, SCP-1361 will continue to lose weight until it is no longer capable of locomotion, at which point it will begin to spoil and grow mold. SCP-1361 can be considered dead at this point and will no longer feed. Rate of decay, and the corresponding requirement to feed, increases dramatically if the temperature of SCP-1361 is above 20 degrees Celsius. If SCP-1361's mass exceeds 107 kilograms, it begins exuding a highly pleasant aroma, described by a D-Class handler upon accidental exposure as smelling better than a rare steak, crispy fried bacon, and a wet shit all rolled into one. Humans and other carnivorous animals exposed to SCP-1361 in this state will experience a strong desire to approach and consume SCP-1361, uncooked, regardless of the caustic damage caused to the hands, mouth, and throat by this process. Once eaten, the consumed matter will begin to engulf the subject from the inside, digesting and turning them into another instance of SCP-1361 over the course of approximately 4 to 6 hours. Testing indicates that consuming approximately 0.5% of the subject's body weight in SCP-1361 is necessary for the transformation to occur. However, individuals exposed to SCP-1361 and allowed to do so frequently consume far in excess of this amount, beyond the normal ability of an individual of their species. All secondary samples of SCP-1361 produced in this manner behave identically to the primary sample, except that DNA markers from the individual consumed will now be present. SCP-1361 remains in this state until its mass drops below 50 kilograms, either due to being consumed, due to pieces of it being removed, or due to loss of mass from not eating. Testing has indicated that the ability to digest a subject after being consumed is not limited to the periods when SCP-1361 is emitting the scent described above and that it persists after being cooked. The scent given off when SCP-1361 is cooked has been described as more pleasant than its uncooked scent. D-Class personnel exposed to it have engaged in irrational behavior and physical violence in an attempt to gain access to samples of cooked SCP-1361. Thanks for watching.